Fucking boo! Callum, do you want to do
Don't think there's anything to add to that, to be honest. I think we should probably just call it there.
it?
That was terrible, wasn't it?
I mean, this is just getting worse. Like, when will this end? 2020 can't get any worse. Aberdeen can't get any worse. Well, McInnes thinks we can.
We'll see what happens. We probably shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves for the weekend, should we?
No, we really shouldn't. Yeah, so welcome back to another episode of Red Tinted Glasses, where yet again we are discussing a dreadful Aberdeen performance. This time, a trip to Paisley doesn't end well, but we come away with a point. So that's a measly 2 points from the worst two teams in the league. Fantastic.
It's good going, isn't it? Yeah, going really well. I love this football lark.
As is it Paul Crichton on the Northern Lights Facebook page says? Well, we've still only lost one away game in 2020.
Bloody hell. What an accomplishment that is. That's up there with the third place trophy, which we might not get at this rate.
Incredible record though, Callum. Incredible record.
I love it.
Anyway, so what's your one-word review from Saturday? You got it yet?
Abysmal. I hope that's not stolen yours.
No, you didn't. I went brutal.
Oh, well, there we go. I think that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, it does. And once again, we posted on our Twitter page at RTG_podcast asking you guys what your one word was. And once again, you responded very well. Some of you didn't respond, you messaged. And Gooby, you're not getting away with this. Despite your tweet saying that the pant pishers were out in force, your word was stagnation.
Oh, that's a good one. That's almost gardens.
Yeah, well, if you think that's good, I've got a few more for you, Callum.
Let's hear them.
Lewis Sharp, atrocious. Ewan Milne, standard. At AFC 1903 SM, I like this one. It was outthought.
Oh, that is very good. And that's twice we've been outthought, really.
Yeah, you could argue 2.5 games.
Exactly.
Really, the second. This is where we get a bit Gordon's, maybe you want to say. I had to actually Google the meaning of this word.
After all the apathy slander you gave me.
Okay, then. So, a friend of the show, Stato Grant, said opaque.
Opaque, I thought opaque was like, you could like see through it, you could tell like you can see through it basically, no? Is that not what opaque means?
Okay, well, yes.
No? Alright.
It's not transparent, so yeah.
There you go.
You knew more than me, so.
Exactly.
And hey, who says this show's not educational, folks?
Exactly. Even I'm teaching you now, so there you go.
Did you do Spanish at school?
I didn't know German, so Scheisse, that would have been my word, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, the Tenerife Dawn Supporters Club, shout out to them listening over in Spain. They gave their one word, and their word was basura. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it translates to trash.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. Get aboard with that.
Yeah, definitely. Colin Ramsey had tedious. Friend of the show, Joe Stephen, had over, which hopefully for McInnes it will be over soon. Or hopefully the pain of watching Aberdeen will be over soon.
True.
Alan Moffat had pathetic. Other regular listeners to the show, Grant Heath and Jonathan Main, both with the same word, disgraceful.
Can't argue with that, to be fair. That's nail on the head, to be fair.
And I also like this. The final one we'll go with was from Craig Lowe, and it was excruciating.
Again, yeah. I think the problem with that one is you can just turn it off. That's how easy it is nowadays. You can just turn it off.
I think that's kind of, before we get into it, I think it's a point we should probably bring up nice and early in the show. There's something you said to me before we recorded tonight. It's getting really difficult to watch this Aberdeen side now that we're not going to games, obviously with the restrictions in place. Watching Aberdeen is becoming harder than ever with the ability to switch off, and with that feeling of kind of not wanting to watch because the style of football has just gone from being excellent to downright terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Doing these podcasts is becoming harder as well, isn't it?
It is, because it's hard enough to watch it, let alone to then speak about what you have actually watched, which most of the time you tune out now, just halfway through, you're just on your phone, whatever, doing whatever, maybe doing some housework, Glenn, in your case.
Yeah, well, actually, the first 45 minutes on Saturday, I was actually visiting Santa's Grotto, so you're going to have to review that for me.
Yeah, okay, we'll start off abysmal. We'll go back to the one-word reviews.
We're just going to play that on loop, are we?
Basically, there's nothing else to God say, do we? Just turn off now. It's just abysmal.
Yeah.
Don't
just
turn
skip
off.
about 20 minutes if you just want to look forward to the weekend.
True.
Well, I say that it could be longer. Who knows? Depends how much we want to run.
Yeah.
So Callum, we had Lewis Ferguson and Ross McCrory back into the starting 11. Ash Taylor as well. He replaced Michael Devlin, but these players coming back didn't make a difference, did they?
Didn't make a jot of difference. No, I was quite excited when McCrory came in and Ferguson. I was buzzing, and Lewis Ferguson, 5 minutes in, decides to just do the most Ferguson thing you've ever seen. 5 minutes in their opposition penalty box, just 2-footing a player for no reason, and then he complains about it. I don't know, like you can't get away with that one, Lewis.
No, I said obviously I didn't watch the first half, but we need to speak about the Ferguson Red Card, so I thought, well, I'll watch to see what he got booked for in the first half, and I was getting updates from various people in the first half, and the messages were Ferguson's lucky to be on the pitch, and I thought, that'll be like a center circle tackle where he goes in 2-footed, not inside St Mirren's penalty box. I mean, what are you doing diving in like that? But interestingly enough, had he not got himself sent off, that yellow card for that tackle was enough to see him suspended anyway, because he'd reached his yellow card threshold. So just when you get one of your influence players out, they just take 5 minutes to get themselves suspended again.
Right, it's just what you want. Good discipline, isn't it? Just what you want.
Yeah. In defence, were you surprised to see Ash Taylor return to the squad after, Devlin's featuring the weekend before?
I was quite surprised. I thought Devlin came in, did okay in the 45 minutes that he played, did pretty well, looked comfortable on the ball as well as defensively. So I was a bit surprised to see Ash come in, but he is our favourite, let's be honest. So he did, not amongst the sport, let me tell you that much, but amongst Mr. McInnes. Well, other than you weirdo. I mean, I wasn't surprised. I was just disappointed at the fact that happened, basically.
Yeah, and I'm laughing at that because I was messaging Keith at the weekend. I was watching View on the Terrace on Saturday morning, and the player that is statistically the best defender in Scottish football in terms of winning their aerial battles is Shane Duffy, who wins 78% of all aerial duels. Mm-hmm. Second best defender in the Premiership so far this season, with 75% victories in his aerial duels, Ash Taylor.
You say that as if that's some achievement. The other donkey ahead of him, that's the thing.
That's the thing. So that's what Keith said. He said, that just shows how terrible statistics can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's just a shame that with the ball at his feet, I'd love to see stats for that.
Yeah. And I suppose we should also touch on Ronald Hernandez, who's been getting very cryptic on social media.
Absolutely raging, that man. I don't blame him. Me Hermano is not happy, and I'm with him. I stand with Ronnie. It is very cryptic, and he even tagged them though this time.
Yeah.
So it's getting serious.
It's getting
and I'm
personal.
all for it. Drama. I love it. It's like a soap. It's great.
Yeah. We've got enough drama on the pitch. Now let's bring it off the pitch as well. I'm sure McInnes is absolutely loving the indirects being fired the club's way from him.
I know, it's like a 13-year-old girl, isn't it? Like, back in the day, and boy comments just fuming. Oh, I'd love it. Let's more of this. This is more exciting than what's happening on the pitch.
Yeah, it really is. So, talk to me about that first half then, Callum.
It didn't start great. It was just terrible. And I was the stage where I am just sort of like zoning out, half in and out. I thought there's no way it'll be as bad as the previous game. We didn't learn our lesson so much. Things weren't great. It's just summarised by that 5 minutes, that Lewis Ferguson tackle, to be honest. That's the only thing that sticks out in my mind. And that probably tells you all about it. Mm-hmm. That's the only point that sticks out in my head.
Not even the Johnny Hayes goal, no?
Literally not even that. I was literally sitting thinking, going, what the hell happened in that game? But, I mean, there's that, and then there's ballooning shots over the bar, which we just seem to love to do. I tweeted about that, and then all of a sudden, Johnny Hayes did pop up, and it was a great header. It was actually a good ball in the box from friend of the show, Matty Kennedy, of course.
It did amuse me when I saw who delivered that box after lambasting his delivery in recent weeks.
I know, it was almost like, that'll show them. After so many weeks of just bad crosses into the box, he finally put a decent one in, and it was Johnny Hayes of all people, not the 6 foot odd man they're probably aiming for. Johnny Hayes, and it was a great header. Anik maybe got a hand to it. Well, he did get a hand to it.
Should have done better, I think.
Yeah, it's just a nice cushioned header at the top corner. So he's our target man from now on, and let's just stick with that.
Yeah, and Sashim Kennedy tired very badly in the second half, which was quite concerning.
It is. I mean, I suppose he's played quite a lot of football coming back from an injury, which was out for quite a while. But again, if you manage it better, then maybe that doesn't happen. Just saying.
Cosgrove, I suppose we should speak about his performance. I know in the last episode you spoke about a lack of service. Same again this weekend. Second half he was anonymous before being taken off for Curtis Main. But both strikers, this is just not working with no Scott Wright and Marley Watkins, is it?
No, I think that's probably telling the fact it's not Cosgrove. Edmondson, nothing's happening with him. Main, nothing happening with him either. I suppose they are sort of all the same kind of player, bigger lumps, but there's just zero service to any of them, and that's the main problem. You saw when Watkins was in with Wright, the link-up play, like there's just none of that nowadays, and it's just hoofball. It's not even good balls in the box most of the time. None of it's enjoyable to watch, and I hate it all. And tuning into the game this weekend, I'm not looking forward to it. If I do, let's be honest.
I think the only saving grace about this weekend is, I didn't even pay for last weekend. He's goaled it again. But at least it's virtual season tickets, so no cost involved. But I suppose Cosgrove, despite having no service and 2 pretty anonymous games, has found himself linked with Newcastle.
I really don't know what to make of that. I'm sure some of you might know that I do follow Newcastle, as I've got family from there, so I do quite take an interest in them. I mean, we've got Andy Carroll, so Cosgrove, much and such the same. You wouldn't get me signing Cosgrove on Football Manager. Put it that way. That's not never happening. A very
nice
weird
plug
link.
For your show there.
Exactly. If you want to tune in, do it. Calm Right on YouTube, thanks.
It's very good, actually. Good few meltdowns.
Exactly. So if you don't get enough meltdowns here, what more could you want? But it was just very odd. It's all very odd. I mean, there's Joe Linton, Wilson, Andy Carroll, Dwight Gale, and Sam Cosgrove. I mean, I don't see why that.
And his agent must be loving life just now, trying to drum up interest in him, and it's obviously getting to desperate measures.
Yeah.
Back to the game. Penalty decision. Lord Tommy Hoban conceding it.
I don't think you can complain about it really. His hand was out.
Really?
Obviously, I don't think so. His hand was out.
Wow.
His hand was out. It's not a deliberate, but I mean, it's going on target, and his hand is out. It's not by his side. It's not by his side. It's not by his side.
Oh my God!
It's not by his side.
Folk will be probably stunned that you're saying that, but also stunned we're disagreeing, Callum.
I know, but it's not by his side, so I don't think.
I feel a bit sick in saying this, but I kind of agree with Derek McInnes' comments on this, saying, sit down, everybody. But I don't know what else he can do in that situation. The ball, there's no distance between the ball and Hoban. It's so soft.
I don't think there's anything else Tommy Hoban can do, but at the same time, I don't think that you can really have much complaints, because hand was out. Okay, it's not a far distance, but the amount you've seen given, that's definitely not the softest of them all, let's be honest.
No. And I suppose then the rules in 2020, this new handball rule.
Exactly. No complaints from me, and it's just typical, isn't it? Typical our luck. Finally goal up. Things are looking great. So good. And that happens.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. They weren't looking...
a little bit of exaggeration. But we were 1-0 up. We were winning a game.
Yeah. Second half, though, what did you make of the second booking for Lewis Ferguson?
I think that was soft. He gets elbowed in the face, and then he's going down, brings down Obika with him. I think that's very, very soft. If I mean, okay, it's Lewis Ferguson. He probably would be clambering all over him. And he's not helped, let's be honest, by Mr. Shea Logan, plumber extraordinaire. Not helped whatsoever by that terrible ball. But I think it is soft. He doesn't go down if he doesn't get elbowed in the face. So, Bobby, what are you doing, mate?
Given the referee a decision to make, taking down Obika, but you've got to take in other circumstances in that as well. But especially when you're on a yellow card, it's not great giving the referee a decision. I'm not saying it is a booking, but we know what the referees can be like in Scotland. We saw it with the penalty decision. In my opinion, wasn't a great decision. So I suppose he was just continuing his theme there. But once we went down to 10 men, boy, things weren't an enjoyable watch. Unless, of course, you're a St Mirren fan.
Oh yeah, they'd have been loving it, loving life. But no, not good. I suppose that literally gives them an excuse already, straight down to 10 men. It obviously does make a difference, but we still could have made more of it than we did, really. It was just created absolutely sod all.
Yeah, the only chance of note, if you can even call it that, was Ryan Edmondson's half chance, which was pretty much straight at Alnwick, and I think that's the only thing I can remember. St Mirren enjoyed peppering our goals, and again, had it not, they just weren't clinical enough, and thankfully Joe Lewis decided not to throw it in the net. Although he did try his best again on Saturday.
Fumbling a few, to say the least.
To say the least, yeah. We will come to that. One thing though, you've been an advocate, let's say, of McInnes trying to remember the substitutions, which I think is quite ironic, given in one of your latest Newcastle videos, you go to make a change after 80 minutes and forget you've already made all your changes.
Shut up. And I also, once I left, someone commented saying I'd left it until 70 minutes. I was like, leave me alone.
Yeah, so I'm just standing up for those that like to bring it up, just reiterating that point. But Funso Ojo for Ryan Hedges. Discuss.
I mean, Hedges was playing terribly, but at the same time, if there's anyone that's going to spark something out of nowhere, probably going to be him. It's not going to be Funso Ojo, is it? And it's questionable. I can understand. I mean, probably you don't want McCrory to be in there by himself, but I mean, I'd rather Hedges in there alongside him, to be honest. Funso, that man, he's an enigma. He's an enigma, that guy.
That substitution for me is up there with Gary Mackay-Steven off, Dominic Ball on.
Oh, I love Dominic Ball though. Bring him back.
Yeah. So really not much to be positive about from that game. And as we touched on, Joe Lewis looked pretty uncomfortable again in spells in the second half. And I suppose we've also got Considine to thank that we're not speaking about another 2-1 defeat.
I do love how St Mirren were just peppering the goal. Just it was shoot on sight after last time. See what happens. Fumbling balls that he should be collecting. Wasn't great from Joe. I did say he should probably get a pair of hands for Christmas. That'd be nice. Great partner from me, as always. But yeah, Considine bailed him out big time. Which, considering Considine's, his form's been a bit suspect, especially since playing for Scotland, weirdly, definitely bailed us out. And that's the Andy we know and love.
Yeah, or I suppose you can also look at it the way it's Lee Irwin's inability to finish his supper, because that was a terrible miss.
Oh, yeah.
Looking on the post-match comments from the managers, Jim Goodwin coming away and saying that the result felt like a defeat, given how many opportunities St Mirren had. And yeah, it literally was wave after wave from the men in black and white. Derek McInnes coming away saying it was a good point, given we were down to 10 men. Imagine a good point against, no disrespect to Mirren fans, the second worst team in the league. So now we've claimed 2 points against the worst two teams in the league, and in the last 2.5 games, because the second half against Hamilton was also abysmal, we've probably been outplayed, and to quote one of the one words, outthought.
Definitely.
Not good.
I'm saying Jim Goodwin in Derek McInnes. Jim Goodwin. That's all I'm saying. No. Yeah, I that sort of tells you the difference. It felt like a defeat, the fact they got a point. And that's after coming back to get a point from a goal down too. And we threw away the 3 points and got the one. And it's a good point. Is it? I mean, okay, yeah, 10 men, all that, penalty going against us, but it's not even like we're really unlucky and missed a load of chances, created loads, and still looked good. We looked terrible. We didn't create much. We didn't miss much either. It was just terrible all round. Load of nonsense in my books, to be honest.
Feel better after that?
Yeah, I was telling you, it's therapy. It's therapy. Just get it out. I thought I don't even know what to say about this beforehand, but it does just all the bad memories come out and just throw them out there.
Yeah, and 1 win in 7 now. Ross County at the weekend. Big game, I suppose.
If there's any team you want to play when you've got that sort of form, it's probably there. But even still, we could imagine if we don't win. Even if we draw, I get a good point. It's not going to be good, is it? Twitter's a funny place when it happens, though. But it is probably the team you'd like to play to try and get something. We saw we played against them last time. But I'm just zero confidence anymore. It's not good. Where's all that? We were like, oh, we're loving it. We're pissing everyone off and winning games. That seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, that's sitting with Scott Wright and Marley Watkins on the injury table.
I know, I miss them so much.
And I suppose the game on Saturday really does take a lot of importance. Given how we've played against the so-called worst 2 teams in the league, Ross County, 3rd worst team in the league just now, potentially. But then after that, we go on the road to Kilmarnock and Motherwell, who have shot up the league, given their 6 bonus points for playing teams that can't control COVID. So pressure could be on McInnes, if not already.
Yeah, I think if things don't go well, even if it's a win and a terrible performance at the weekend, going into those games, they have to turn it around and start with the game against County. If you win then it's sort of a bit more positive, even if it's get a good performance as well, that'd be even better. And then you can push on to those games and hopefully, fingers crossed, turn a corner. You can tell I really believe the words I'm saying, don't you? Yeah.
Well, hopefully those that are tuning in also believe. And if you are watching the video, I'm sure you can see the belief coming across from Calum. And if you are watching on YouTube, please remember to either like the video, dislike it if you disagree with what we're saying, but also feel free to comment below with your thoughts. And as always, hit that subscribe button. We're just 17 subscribers away from hitting our goal of 100 by the end of the year. So here's hoping that we can achieve that.
Fingers crossed, and all your support is definitely appreciated. I echoed the sentiment.
Yes, and especially when it is tough to record these on the back of terrible performances, knowing that we do have the support of those of you that listen and watch the videos does make it slightly easier, because we know that people do, in a weird way, enjoy listening to us rant about Aberdeen for about 40 minutes a week.
Is it called Schadenfreude or something? Is that the word, German, where it's like you enjoy someone else's misfortune? I think that's maybe what's happening.
I have no idea what you're speaking about.
Harlow, I'm telling you, you're great.
I even did German at Gordon's as well, so yeah.
I hope I don't look like an idiot though and said that wrong, but it's possible.
Yeah, I'm sure folk will let us know.
Oh yeah, definitely, they definitely will.
So one thing, we did speak about at the start of the show as well was kind of the apathy that's kicking in with, the performances not being great. Dave Cormack failed in, well, not him personally, the club failed, I suppose, in getting fans into the game this weekend. Do you think many would be eager to go, given what we're witnessing just now?
No, probably not. In short, I thought it would just be nice to be able to get to the game and see it in person. Obviously, that's what everyone wants. But for Messrs McInnes, it's probably not a bad thing that there's not too many crowds. But I suppose it would maybe give a lift just that It's that positivity, that Aberdeen fans always bring.
Yeah, well, it was like Lee Boyer pre-match in the Charlton MK Dons game was gloating how nice it was to have fans back, and then come full time slating them because they booed the team off after losing 1-0. Oh, how I long for that at Pittodrie.
What do you expect? What do you expect?
Yeah.
But yeah.
And we have put in a request to the football club to get Mr. Cormack on the show to kind of discuss the importance to the club of fans returning. Callum, I know you'd be chomping at the bit to discuss other issues, but if he comes on, hopefully it'd be good to kind of hear some honesty on why it is so important, and maybe we could discuss other issues as well.
I think the viewers and listeners of the show should encourage Mr. Cormack and tweet him and let him know that that's what the people want. If it is what the people want, that is. And let him know. Yeah. Come on. Absolutely. Come on the show, Dave. Come on the show.
Absolutely. Come on. Give the fans what they want. Exactly. And it'll be questions from the fans, for the fans. None of this scripted AFC media, although, Lisa, if you're watching, we probably will have to put the questions in too.
So if you're watching, we'll be nice. We promise. We promise we'll be nice.
Yeah. And for a bit of positivity as well, we've got a wee treat for those of you that are watching and listening come the end of the week. We've got a former player interview. Look out on our Twitter page. We'll post a teaser who that's with on Wednesday night once we've recorded the episode. Looking forward to that one, Callum?
I am excited. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to ruin things. I'm excited, Glenn. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great boost for the podcast. And it'll be nice to speak to somebody about their time with Aberdeen and see how much they enjoyed it and what it was like playing for the club as well. And kind of a few memories from some big games in recent times as well. And kind of hear from a player's point of view. It'll be nice.
It'll be good, yeah, to speak about Aberdeen in a positive light. It'll be great, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Something positive ahead of the weekend. And joining us this week, ahead of the big game, is Adam Inglos to offer a Ross County perspective. Adam, thanks for taking the time to join us again on Red Tinted Glasses. Hopefully, for your sake, you're going to be kind of looking forward to a result that wasn't as bad as when we met in September. But, going into the weekend's game, both teams didn't really have favourable results. How do you look on the weekend's game against Rangers?
Exactly the same as what I was talking about with Celtic in our last conversation. So I was happy with the fact that we were attacking. I actually think we were quite positive up until we conceded the first goal. And, well, that happens every game. You play Celtic in the Cup. So the problem that I kind of have with it is that we're wide open. I mean, we played for spells, we played with 5 at the back. So almost trying to invert what we're doing. So before I was talking about the fact that we were playing free-flowing, open, attacking football, etc., and trying to pass the ball about and, 2 passes from side to side instead of 5, the old county way of, not even having a midfield, just punting it straight up as well as gone. I mean, it works. I like the ethos, but again, we were just stung for that by, Tavernier. And that Rangers just seem to be in this mode right now that, God, I put them against almost anyone. I mean, they're really strong, and it's actually really worrying. They're really good, and I think that, coming off only having been beaten by 4, well, I mean, Callum Morris going for goal of the season, in my opinion. It's going to happen. But yeah, I think that you could see in the second half that Rangers kind of slowed down a little bit as well. They didn't. They were almost conserving a bit of energy, but we kind of got stuck in ourselves as well. So yeah, I've looked at it and kind of gone, well, it was a write-off. I thought the cup game was going to be a write-off as well. I kind of thought that we would lose that, and it would give Lennon time, and it would mean that Ketts would be in trouble. Turns out that it's probably given Ketts 6 months, which is a bit strange. But yeah, a difficult game, some kind of controversy as well. It depends what you read. Obviously, Daily Record is kind of contradicting the Scotsman, which is contradicting county fans about, the behaviour of Michael Gardine, which is absolutely embarrassing. I don't really care what it is that he said. It's the fact that he's a club legend, a senior player. He should be better than that, but we should all be better than that. But he's got a responsibility to behave and conduct himself in a manner befitting the club, and he's not done that. So if the club doesn't hammer him, then the fans, I think, should hammer the club. But County have not been good with dealing with these things in the past. So I don't expect County to do much. Yes, if they'll probably do more. And expanding on that, really, if you don't mind me banging on about it, I've kind of got a problem with the discipline in general. I mean, I think that fits the problem that we have, is that we've actually got a good squad of players, but none of them are disciplined. Now, is it because we don't have Stevie Ferguson, balling at them, the old-fashioned number two that gives them shit, all the time? We don't really have that. Richie Britton, he was known for being a loud captain, but he's not the same as Stevie Ferguson. You look at the amount of red cards that we've had, penalties we've conceded, even our captain, and God love him for what he's done at Cali Thistle. But I mean, the conduct of Vigurs this season, for me, is not befitting of a captain. I mean, we're looking at senior players in the club who should be setting examples to read to, we had 3 academy players involved in the squad against Rangers, which is, I'm really proud of County for that. But then they're looking at the senior players in the club and they're hearing Gardine coming out with nonsense. They're looking at Vigurs halfing and scissor kicking folk, and they're going, right, the way that we're meant to conduct ourselves. I mean, it's just not acceptable. And realistically, the buck stops with the manager in that. It really does. And the difference is, in the previous season, we had, the only kind of difference I can see is that we had a strong number 2. So if we had a strong number 2, that realistically means that we had a strong, 1-and-1. That's the only change I can see. But the discipline is gone. We are conceding far too many fouls. If you just look at the foul rate for every single game, we seem to be going in and halving people all the time. I've got no problem with playing dirty tractor football, as you guys call it, right?
Yeah.
They're known for that. Cali are known for it as well. And, Cali under Butcher did well by doing that. Differences changed. We moved on 10 years or 8 years, right? Game changed. We can't be halving players all the time. So, and you'd get away with that in the Championship. You don't get away with it in the SPFL. So it's a plethora of things that, I think we need to change style. We need to be more kind of street smart, but also we need to see leadership from the top, and we're not seeing it. And it's quite sad, actually, as well. And we've lost some, I would think, good voices in the changing room as well, such as Fontaine. I mean, I didn't know him as a player. I mean, the guy couldn't move. It's like he was stuck in treacle all the time. But probably worth sticking around just for the sake of he'd be a good voice because he'd be a senior figure. I'd be expecting that kind of thing from Gardine. I'd be expecting that from Vigurs, because Vigurs is now kind of ticking on. These guys, though, they're going out and then they're halving folk and they expect people to follow them. It's a problem that we have. So when it comes to playing you guys, expect more injuries. That's what I'd say.
We can't afford to have any more injuries. Please, God, no.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point you make there about the lack of discipline. Obviously, excuse me, the Gardine comments, I didn't notice that until just shortly before the recording. Roman Bardwaj said that the compliance officer is going to look into the alleged homophobic comments that he's made. So depending how that develops through the week, this podcast being recorded on Monday night, it could mean that he's suspended. Vigurs, obviously, you said, is going about halving folk. Obviously, he gave away the penalty last time the sides met and subsequently got himself sent off. Probably think the last time we met CALUM'S, probably the last time we actually played good football.
That's how I enjoyed myself watching Aberdeen, maybe as well. I can add that to the list. That's the only hope I'm taking in going into the game. In fact, we played well against them last time, but since then things haven't been too great. But hopefully we can pick ourselves up against County again. Oh, it's been turgid.
Oh yeah, and I suppose it's not been much better from a Ross County point of view either. But Adam, just one thing I want to kind of pick up on before we kind of look into the game was last week we saw Hamilton awarded a 3-0 win for their postponed game involving St Mirren. That obviously gave them 3 points and has lifted them out of the relegation zone. And subsequently their win over Kilmarnock at the weekend has lifted them above yourselves in the league. Albeit you do have a game in hand over them, but as a County fan, how do you feel on Hamilton being awarded those 3 points in that game against St Mirren?
I'm not particularly bothered about it because I think that, I understand why. God, it's irritating, but, I understand why. And to be honest, it's not Hamilton at fault for that. I mean, there's kind of due process now. I love batting the SFA because we all do, because they're useless at most things. For me, I mean, they've actually stuck to the rules for once. They've not tried to bend it or anything like that. Would it be different if it was, Aberdeen or Celtic or Rangers involved? Ooh, let's have a look at that. But, at the time, yeah, fair enough. It directly affects County. I am a little bit frustrated about it, but on the other hand, I've got to kind of it's got to happen, and it's probably the only 3-0 that they're going to have for a long time. A clean 3-0. But, Hamilton in general, same as Livy, same as St Mirren. I mean, we could spend a whole podcast talking about this whole chat about St Mirren and the financial irregularities.
Mm-hmm.
You find that in most clubs, to be honest. So, I'm not really interested in that. And any County fans that I think are kind of holding on to that, which I've heard there's a few, are kind of, there's no need for that. We're in the position we're in because of bad management in some ways and bad performances. I'm not looking for a buyout in the same way that we kind of got prior with COVID and stuff like that. It's not fair. And, it's just the way of it. Hamilton, I don't think Hamilton are that bad a side. I've been impressed, as I said previously, with the fact that, changing your entire back four and then still being able to tick out decent defensive results. I mean, that's decent coaching. And it might be turgid, it might be awful to watch for their fans, but it's getting them there. And this minor fan protest that they had, I'm kind of looking at it and going, well, why is County not complaining that much? And the County fans seem to be quite split. You've either got half that are going, get kits out, but they've been get kits out when we draw one game. And then you get, and those are the same that, you're going to bring up the passport thing at some point. But the same that are thinking that we should be challenging for Europe every year. And then you've got the other ones that are going, no, he's one of our own. But at some point, you have to look at it and you have to point the blame. Hamilton, if they stay up again, let them. I mean, fair enough. We have to take them to task before the turn of the year. That's cool. I mean, I look at every game as a cup final. Most football fans do, especially for smaller clubs like County. But for me, we have to take them to task. And we did down at their place, so we have to at Victoria. That's it.
Yeah, and that is a big game coming up for you. You did mention the passport, and it would be rude not to bring that up. But last time you were on the show, it was after County had such a great start to the season, and you were looking forward to renewing your passport and potential of European football. However, since then, County have only taken 1 point out of a possible 15, scoring 3 in the process since our last meeting. Is the lack of goals a worry?
Thanks for that. So, no digs involved there at all.
No.
I mean, the thing is, until it's mathematically impossible, I'll always believe. It's the same with relegation, the same with everything, same with the title. You never know. but we do know that. But when it comes down to 1.15, I mean, it's horrendous, right? And like I said about the result against Celtic, I think a pub team could have turned up at their gaff, and it's bought Ket's time. It's bought Ket's time for quite a lot of people, and it's a kind of it's straight on BBC News, and this should be the result that's going to get Lennon the sack, and there was riots outside and everything like that, and that makes like Kettlewell look like a hero. It's paper over the cracks. We're probably going to go down. We're probably going to go down. I mean, we have to change. The problem is we've already changed about 3 or 4 times. This is the problem that I've had with it, is that we started off well and then he panicked and immediately changed to being pragmatic. He then went back to doing a kind of hybrid. So we've tried 4 formations. So you combine that with like the discipline and that, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We are trying to play possession like football with players that aren't necessarily good with possession because they're more used to chasing after the ball and taking someone's ankle. So it's it is what it is. It's going to be difficult for us. But would I say that we do what we normally do, what we did under Derek Adams and that kind of thing, where we go out and we get 10 players in January? I don't know. It's hard to say. But I can't rely on other clubs dropping points because, to be honest, I think we got figured out. We started. The point I made before was that we started our pre-season earlier, so I think we came back quite fair, and we caught a few sides kind of unawares because we were fit, we were playing possession football, and we got points in the bank pretty quickly. I think you normally need 10 per quarter, another 7 by January, I would think, but I can't see where that's going to come from. It's difficult. It's difficult to see. And the thing is, we actually, despite the fact that we made some good signings, we do seem to be a bit threadbare, and we're playing some academy players. So, I mean, it's going to be, bringing it back to playing you guys, it's going to be really interesting to see because, yous are threadbare as well. So, again, it's an opportunity for us. But really, it should shine through for you against us. On the other hand, the fact that we keep playing, in my opinion, relatively well against sides that are much better than us, and we're playing this possession game. That possession game might work well against you. So it's an open game for me.
Yeah, and Callum, I saw the sadness in your eyes there about when Adam mentioned County potentially going down, missing out on the Mallard.
That would be the worst thing to have happened in the last year. And there's been a lot of bad things that have happened. I think that would just top it all off. It's just cancel off Scottish football. There's just no point after that if that happens. But it's interesting you mentioned, the fact that they're sort of struggling for goals, Glenn, and things, because our defence hasn't been great, but Ross County's has possibly been worse. But do you think you can expose our defence, and do you think they can hold out against possibly Ryan Hedges? Other than that, not really looking at too many players from us, especially at Scott Wright's out still.
Well, Johnny Hayes, hopefully.
Maybe. I mean, who knows these days? I'm just so fed up with them all. But just carry on, sorry.
Kind of like knocking head against a brick wall a little bit with County because, like, Mackay, proven goal scorer, and we're not playing him. The Stewart should be in the Scotland squad at the start of the year because I'm delusional, like most of every single football club is. But he does his part. But the problem is when we try and accommodate him, we have to shift him out left. Why not get Mackay in? I mean, proven goal scorer. He's literally just going to sit and he's going to cause problems. Now, with a threadbare kind of defence, I'd be looking to put in a player like that. Is Ket's going to do it? I doubt it. He seems to be. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being sticking to your principles, but he's sticking to them far too much. It's time to change selection, not just formation and philosophy, I think. So
yeah.
I would look for us to play Mackay hopefully against you, and then we can.
And Billy Mackay's a player that's kind of got a good record at Pittodrie, if my memory serves well. And certainly the way our defence has been going, as Callum says, it's not been the greatest so far. And, we've kind of had a bit of lack of creativity up top. So if County have watched what St Mirren and Hamilton have done to us over the last 3 games and just frustrate the hell out of us, there's every chance. But as you say, Adam, if you just result to hammer throwing and taking us down at every opportunity, hopefully we can maybe try and take a bit of advantage of some poor discipline from County.
Well, it'll revert to that. It'll revert to hammer throwing. We'll get a bunch of yellow cards, and then probably someone will get sent off again.
I mean, as long as Ryan Hedges doesn't get injured, because then I just give up with the season. But you said the Celtic game bought Kettlewell some time. A lot was spoken about going into this month of County's run of games. Obviously, Rangers, ourselves, the big game against Hamilton coming up. Probably in some county fans' eyes is probably the biggest game, and then obviously a game against Celtic. But I suppose you've already gone and got a result against Celtic, so some confidence to take from there. Given this run, how important is it for Kettlewell, or do you think Roy McGregor has a degree of sympathy with him?
It's quite it's quite a difficult thing to answer in a lot of ways, because you have to actually look at the history. So Roy McGregor's been quite inconsistent in the way that he's dealt with managers in the past. He's been either far too loyal or far too kind of trigger happy. We take Derek Adams, we could go back to Dick Campbell, we could go to Robertson, we could go to there's plenty others, but I mean we've been messy with the way that we've done it, and it's never been consistent whereby we've gone, we'll check you after say 4 losses, but then Roy McGregor's also kind of changed his attitude in the club, so he's kind of changed it over to, instead of the County should be going as far as they can, to, we need to be realistic about our position. Almost that, if we go into the SPFL, it doesn't matter what happens because, we're above where we should be. I don't agree with that. Naturally, any football fan wants their club to go as far as they can. And I think that he's got so much loyalty towards Kettlewell that I wouldn't be surprised. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised that if he gets rid of Kettlewell, a lot of people are saying, go for Tommy Wright, go for Tommy Wright, go for Tommy Wright. I wouldn't be surprised if we went for Steve Mackay.
Brora.
Genuinely, I really think that that's where he might go. So you never know. You'll never get odds on it because no one can put hell in football. But
No, I'm sure the Fraserburgh listeners that are tuning in will be hoping that he does leave Brora to give maybe Fraserburgh a chance of winning the Highland League.
That's true. But yeah, when in terms of game time, like what would I give him? I mean, you've got to give him probably until Christmas now. But I mean, it's a stupid time to change manager as well, as we all know. Like, you don't change at such a congested kind of period. So, but then you can't get rid of a guy after playing one of the old firm or one of the Glasgow two. So, it is difficult. So he'll probably get time until like mid-January or something like that. But on the other hand, if we're practically down by then and we don't pick up any more points, or we pick up maybe 2 or 3 more until mid-January, we're done. So you then counter it by going, well, what's the value in changing it? Because the problem with Kettlewell is we're trying to build an ethos at the club whereby we're developing coaches all the way through. So to get rid of someone who's been there from being a youth coach all the way through and then replacing him, we'd have to change a whole load of structure again, and County have done that a lot of time, and that damages the club. Whereas it's nice to have like almost the two segregated. You've got Derek McInnes, he is where he is, but then your youth coaching and all that, he's got an inclusion in. but he didn't come all the way through that, whereas County seems to be continually trying to develop. So that's why a lot of people are saying, oh, go after Tommy Wright, go after, Richie Britton would be the next one, or Stevie Ferguson will come back. I don't necessarily think that's the best approach. I think you should always have the two kind of segmented. So, yeah, that's where the difficulty is going to be, and that's probably why there's a bit of hesitation in getting rid of Ketts, because he's so county ingrained in a lot of ways, from bottom to top. So
you did mention only maybe picking up a couple of points between now and sort of January time. I now realise this might be a stupid question, but how worried are you about genuinely going down, and even then getting back up?
Oh, we get back up. Cali are supposed to guaranteed 12 points.
Possibly,
I don't like to make a judgment until maybe February. But what I would say is, even though points wise we seem to be better this season, something about last season felt better in terms of, I know we spiraled, but something about last season felt better in terms of the fight. And you could see it, and maybe that's just because I was going to the games and I could see that the management were trying to drive the team on, whereas I watch County at the moment, and it's maybe I feel like distanced, but I don't see the same level of. Do you know what I mean? And when you do that, when you see that, and you also see, again, I keep bringing up the discipline thing, about lack of discipline, you're kind of like, well, I'm not sure. I mean, it can change. The difference is we were the ones to start, and we were relegation candidates, but we were the ones to start taking the points, and now all of a sudden we've stalled, whereas all the other clubs have kind of hit the gear and hitting the gear. And St Mirren especially, I actually think St Mirren, out of ourselves, St Mirren, Hamilton and Livy, St Mirren actually look the best of the four.
Yeah.
So, because they give every team a bit of trouble, and they seem to be quite stodgy. They seem to be difficult to break down, and they seem to know what the game plan is, and it's very basic. So I think that's the problem, is that they're below us at the moment, but they won't be for long. And then when you get stuck in the bottom, it's difficult to get away. So yeah, I think it's incredibly realistic, probably more realistic than last season, if I'm honest, Callum. So yeah,
no, it would be a big shame to lose another northern team from the Premiership, and certainly a team I think a lot of us have a soft spot for. Callum, I think you'd agree on that.
Definitely, especially when we get to go there and have a nice time up north. It's lovely. It's definitely a soft spot then.
Who's the other northern team?
Well, it's nice to go north for a change. I know, but
there's only one team in the Highlands. That's what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, Brora Rangers, isn't it? So Adam, thanks again for joining us to offer a county perspective ahead of the weekend. It's always nice to get opposition fans on to allow, and save myself and Callum rambling, but also it allows those Aberdeen fans that are listening a genuine perspective of the opposition from an opposition fan. What I would like to do is just get your one word ahead of the weekend's game, and we normally do this ahead of the Aberdeen game. It's just kind of your thoughts on the 90 minutes coming up. So what would be your one word ahead of Saturday's game?
Pragmatic.
Okay.
Callum?
Worried. I think it all makes sense, just that one word. Glenn, what about you?
Improvement. And I don't know, County and Aberdeen fans can take it whichever way they want, because I think something needs to improve. So that is the review for the club football done. And Adam, as a member of, as a Scotland fan as well, I think we should maybe just cover a bit of bonus feature for this episode. Today saw the World Cup qualifying draw for Qatar 2022, and we saw Scotland be placed in a group with Denmark, Austria, our old friends Israel, the Faroe Islands, and Moldova. Callum, what was your initial thought straight away to that draw?
Well, when Denmark and then Austria came out, I thought that's, couple decent teams from the pots when all things considered, when you consider who's in there. Mm-hmm. There's also obviously, then you get Israel and then just like, oh, not again. And considering how much we struggled against them, it is quite a worry. Like I got Austria and Denmark and I thought, oh, that's pretty good. I'm quite confident. But as soon as they came out, I'm like, oh, they'll just make us look like mugs once again. Again, Faroe Islands and Moldova, that's got to be 12 points. Anything other than that, it's just unacceptable. But we'll see what happens.
It's got to be 12 points, but many a Scotland fan will have nightmares about trips to Faroe Islands and Moldova, and the Faroe Islands especially. I think it was the famous 2-2 draw when we were 2-0 down at half time. But Adam, yourself, what was your initial thoughts on that draw?
I completely echo Callum. It's got to be, but I'm thinking about when we stuffed it against Georgia away and all that kind of thing, and Moldova is going to be the next Georgia, and Islands, we've got history with them, and it's going to be a case of blaming travel and blaming conditions and blaming a plastic pitch or whatever up at the Faroes. And Israel, oh God, it's annoying playing them again, but it is what it is. We have to have faith. So that's the thing. What we'll probably do is we'll probably go and beat Denmark. We'll probably go and beat Austria, but then we'll just fluff it against the Faroes. It's just, that's what we do.
Yeah, and I mean, the Faroe Islands are an improving nation as well. They have had some respectable results in the Nations League as well, albeit I know they're playing similar teams. And Israel, we know all about them, but they also managed to beat Austria at home 4-2 in the last qualifying campaign. So hopefully Israel can be stuffy for other teams, not just us. And you never know, that might also help. But I think on paper overall, I think Scotland should be happy because given some of the groups, you look at Northern Ireland, the groups could have been a lot worse for us. So should hopefully take some confidence. And, we've done a couple of podcasts on Scotland, Callum, but if Steve Clarke can just keep the defence tight and we can just sort our striking problems, mainly with Burnley, then hopefully we can try being positive about the campaign.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. I think I've definitely, if you give me this group sort of before all the qualification, all that nonsense, I would have been panicking a lot. But I feel like, you mentioned even beating Denmark. I feel like we can go across to sort of Denmark and Austria and come away with something, even if it's just a point, and then maybe at Hampden in front of a crowd, we can maybe take them then. So I'm a bit more positive. I'm more positive about Scotland than I am about Aberdeen, put it that way.
And here's hoping the crowds actually get into these games when they come around. But Adam, Scotland positivity, 2 words that often don't go together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that half of the reason why you guys are so positive is because of Considine. But realistically, it'd be great. We don't know what to expect as usual with Scotland, but we're going to a Euro, so what does it matter? And let's just take it.
I know that's the thing. Now we've qualified for a major tournament. We're just expecting to get to another one.
Exactly. It'll just happen. So pressure's off now.
Yeah.
It's like London buses.
Exactly. Here's hoping. Well, Adam, thanks very much for joining us and also giving your thoughts there on the Scotland podcast. And I'd say all the best for Saturday, but given the way it's going for us, I don't really know what all the best would be.
It'll be a 0-0 draw probably.
Wow.
Which would help us, actually, so thanks.
Yeah, well, we like to help Hamilton in their relegation battle, so it'd be nice to maybe help Ross County out.
Spread the love.
Yeah, spread the love. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for everyone that's tuned in, and until next time.